What's going on, Tamers? Welcome back to another DigiGuard United video. My name is Adrian, and today we're going to bring you our first TBL snapshot from Season 3. I'm really excited to get a full season of TBL snapshots underway. Last season, we kind of started midway through, and we were just scraping the surface of what that's going to essentially be as a series, so I'm really excited for a full season. So let's go over the details here. Shout out to Varney for the breakdown. We had 16 players, 14 different decks, so the variety is still there, the diversity is still there, which is nice, but this was BT16 regional format. We did allow proxies for this event, so we're going to see some new cards, and we'll go over them as we come along, but this might be a little bit on the longer side just in case there's some effects that we're not sure of. But I like seeing, different decks here. I like seeing the variety. That's something that's always encouraging to me as a player. It's nice to see people having different ideas and not just kind of married to whatever is considered like the tier 1 or meta deck. We do have a 5th place deck that we're going to mention here, honorable mention, shout out to Leppy. But here is our top 4. We had Shine Gray in 1st, Mirage in 2nd, Magna Armors in 3rd, and Vaccine Armors in 4th. So I'm excited for BT16 personally. 02 was my favorite season, and the fact that we're getting armor support as well as Imperial support in the same set is really exciting to me, and those decks are just going to be pretty good in my opinion. So let's jump over into the deck list themselves so we can take a look and see what people have been cooking up this week. So here's our 5th place. Shout out to Leppy. This is Leopardmon Toolbox is what he's calling it. You have your Leopardmon and your Leopardmon X antibody up top just to spit out level 4 so you can go ahead and climb your DNA Digivolution a lot quicker. Having Partition on your DNA is also very nice. If you guys don't know, Partition is a new effect that we got in BT16 on this Pyildramon. Basically what it does is if your Digimon were to be deleted outside of battle, so by effect, you're going to go ahead and spit out your 2 level 4s. And it does have that same effect up into the inheritable if you were playing an Imperialdramon deck, and you can have that same carryover into your Dragon modes or your Fighter modes. But it's just really nice. A nice way to reset the clock and give you your XVs, give you your Stings, and just go ahead and continue to climb that way. So we're not going to spend too much time on the newer stuff, but I just wanted to go over the highlights. This Grand Kuwagamon Ace is really nice. Does give you security attack +1 when it becomes suspended on another Digimon. And on play when Digivolving, it does suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, and then it can delete 1 of your opponent's suspended Tamers. So just nice Tamer removal. If you go ahead and swing with your aggressive ultimates here and it becomes suspended, you can go ahead and blast Evo into your Gargomon or your Kuwagamon. The Gargomon is really nice because obviously it's going to reboot and then give you a blocker. But this is just really solid. I do like the... Is it Togamogumon? Yeah, Togamogumon, which is an armor for Wormmon, the first of its kind that we're seeing. Outside of Shadramon, Shadramon really is an armor for Wormmon, but it didn't have like the armor mechanic that we got in EX3. Yeah, EX3 or 4. So it's nice to see Wormmon getting some armor purge love here, but this card's pretty solid. Opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, trash the top Digivolution card of one of their Digimon, then one of their Digimon with no sources can't attack or block. So that's just really good. You're going to have some Sword Strip here, you're going to have some bounce, you're going to have stuff built in to the system here. This new Davis Ken Tamer is really strong. Start of your turn, you can play a Vmon or a Wormmon from your hand without paying the cost. And then when you Digivolve into a Digimon that's blue or green, you can suspend a gain of memory. But if you DNA Digivolve, you can trash through the Digivolution cards too. So there's just nice Source Strip here. No Zudomon Ace. We went the mega route for aces here, but this looks pretty solid. Leppy's always trying to cook up something really interesting. So shout out to him for doing that. And he, 3-1 is a good sample size here. Last card here, Invincible Dragon Insect Fusion. Yeah, so this allows you to play an XVmon or a Stingmon from your hand without paying the cost. Then you can go ahead and immediately DNA Digivolve with a card in your hand, and then until the end of your opponent's turn, that DNA Digivolution cannot be deleted in battle and gains blocker. So if you do this to pass turn, you're going to have an ultimate blocker on the board. If you do this just aggressively to go into your stack, remember DNA Digivolution does reset, so there's no summoning sickness, and inheritables do re-trigger as well. So it's just kind of go and turbo into your stack and just start attacking that way. You're going to get 2 swings essentially off of your Pyildramons when you do that. But doing this to pass turn isn't terrible because it does set up a blocker if you don't need, like if you need to not die. So yeah, shout out to Leppy for 5th place. Here we have Vaccine Armor. Now armor is going to be built very differently. There's a lot of different variants you can build. There's like a Magnamon tribal that you could do. There's like a vaccine armor that you could do. So there's going to be a lot of different variations. This to me is probably the I gotta be careful how I say this. It's probably the better version, maybe on paper, but I hate this. I'm more of like a tribal stan. Like if I'm gonna play something with armors, there's got to be VMons in it, and there are none here. So I do like the old Fremont egg though from BT8. When you have 3 more security plus 1 KTP, that's really nice because you're gonna be recovering out the wazoo. But yeah, this stuff is just pretty, this guy right here. I mean, this is the boogeyman everybody's talking about. This is the gatekeeper for the format. People are already talking about having it banned or limited or whatever. I'll just let it rock. Like, let the card come out. Let us have the experience with it. I'm excited for this. It's our first tricolor Digimon, which is going to be very interesting with certain applications I'm sure we'll come across at some point. But this guy is really good. You got to be careful on the timings and stuff. It's not invincible. There are certain windows and checkpoints where he won't trigger his ability of protection. So that's when you just kind of have to deal with it. You're never going to get the reduced Digivolution cost here because there are no Magnamons other than him. So you're never going to get that Digivolution for 5 in a champion. You're literally going to hard Digivolve this over an ultimate for 4. So it's just essentially just a mega, unless you're playing old Golden Knight, which is he's playing 4 of. So basically this allows you to tag up into from any other armor. So you can go ahead and Digivolve your Rapidmons or your Gold Veedramon here into the Magnamon for the cost. So for 3 rather. So you're cheating it. You're cheating 2 different things. You're cheating the Digivolution track because you're going from 4 to 6, but you're also cheating the cost, which is going to be 3 instead of 5, which will be on a champion. So you're saving 2 memory that way. This card is going to be really good. In the vaccine lists, I could definitely see Golden Knight being played as a more prevalent card as opposed to just like a limited card. Like for example, I don't want to spend too much time, but for example, like if you're playing Magna armors, you probably don't need too many of this because you're going to have Digivolution reduction anyway. But if you're just playing a traditional armor list with vaccine, you're probably going to want to do this so you can mitigate some memory cost. But this is like security control armors, I guess, if you want to say. Maybe not like fully security control, but there's a lot of security bombs here. So yeah, I mean, shout out to, I believe this was Peter's list. Yeah, shout out to Peter for top 4 with this vaccine variant. I'm sure as the format just progresses, it's going to change over time, but this is stuff that we have to start looking at, moving into BT16. Our 3rd place was Magnamon armor. So this is something more traditionally of what I'm looking for. If I'm going to play an armor list, I'm definitely going to have some VMons in there. Again, I shout out to Panzer. I know he loves jamming VMon, but I'm finding this card to have less and less applications as newer things come out. Jamming is definitely a great keyword, especially to have on a rookie because you're going to get early chip damage. But Digivolving your Vmon over your Bukamon just feels terrible. And sometimes that does happen and there's no way around it. So, again, we'll just have to see how everything grows organically. But I am liking this Vmon lineup. I do like the starter deck Vmon from starter deck 9 that on play searches top 3 for a free Digimon. This new Vmon is interesting because it does allow you to gain a memory one of your other Digimon Digivolves, so that's interesting, but you have to have an established Vmon on board already to get that effect, and he's only a 2K rookie, so, I mean, I guess, having it, just cheap memory, that's always good, being efficient as you can. The inheritable is great though. 2000 DP on your turn is obviously really nice. It's gonna make the mirror match a lot easier because your Magnamons are gonna be able to swing over and cause the armor purge if need be. Yeah, I mean, this is solid. This card is great. Magnamon from the starter deck is great. The Royal Knight Magnamon from BT13, I do like this card still at 4 just because there are certain matchups with like DP reduction where he floats and he's going to get you a Vmon, so you don't have to necessarily worry about the purge and the DP reduction carrying down to your rookie. So I do still like him as a 4 of, and I can easily see a Blinding Ray going down to 2 and then going this up to 4. But again, you don't argue with the results. You know, this is our 3rd place finisher. Everything in here is really solid. Heaven's Judgment is going to be everywhere, and especially with Magnamon X being tricolor, it's going to trigger multiple. It's going to be really insane. I do like the 1 of TK. There's not a lot of target. You can whiff on this card, so you got to be super careful, which is probably why there's only a 1 of. In my opinion, I think the best tamer for this deck is going to be Shu Yulin. Just being able to go ahead and trigger Mind Link on your Magnamons to give it Alliance and Reboot is really, really strong, as well as being a memory tamer. It's going to turn on your black options in Final Zubagon Punch, which is something that you want because your only black target in this deck is Magnamon and Magnamon X. So you do have to, this is going to be an interesting transition to see what's the more efficient way of playing it. If this were me, I would go ahead and up this to 1, down this to 2. I mean, play another one of these, take one of these out, play another one of these, take this out. And that's pretty solid. I mean, again, Crimson Blaze is just a really good card. But you only have the 1 source, so you just have to be super careful. You don't want this card to be dead. It's not difficult to establish a rookie, so that's the caveat there. But it's just interesting, especially the Floodgate effect on there. It's going to be really interesting to see how that works. But I think going into BT16, Magnamon X's best removal card is going to be Heaven's Judgment, so you're going to see a lot of that. So our 2nd place finish we have a Digimon Savers top 2. Shout out to Data Squad. We have Mirage. So the good thing about Mirage that I like is you don't have to lean as heavily into the archetype. As you can see here, we have Gomamon, we have Betamon, we have Suyakomon as our rookies, and then we have the 1 Gaomon. I have seen a lot of people fall out of favor with the BT11 Gaomon, which is the top 3 search, add a tamer and a piece, and then trash the rest. Sometimes you can whiff heavily on that and trash 2 pieces that you might not need right at that point, but you might need them later. So it is nice having you like a toolboxy rookie lineup here. This Gaomon is a staple. You have to play this guy. On play, you guys both draw, which is going to trigger your inheritables and your abilities because your opponent added a card to their hand by an effect. I think there is a little bit of an overkill here with the Betamons because the new Galgamon just gives you jamming and it's within the line. And then there's really no need for that many because you're playing the Bukamon Egg. So I think Betamon might start coming out of Mirage decks. I could be wrong, but I think there's better utility from your rookies than just having jamming since you're going to have it off a champion anyway. The Amphimon Ace is super interesting. Hand Counter Blast Evo on play when digivolving. You may trash up to 4 blue cards in your hand for each one. Trash one of your opponent's for each one. Trash any 1 card under your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Okay. Then return one of their Digimon or Tamers without cards under it to the hand. Okay. When attacking by returning 3 cards with Jellymon. So the when attacking doesn't matter, but this is really nice because it's Source Strip. But it also hits Hunters, which is super nice because if Hunters have on deletion save cards underneath them, they can go ahead and get bounced that way. So it's kind of like a Zudo Ace in a way, but it's on a Mega. So I don't really think Mirage is going to end up too much with an ultimate just kind of left out there. I'd love to see how many applications Amphimon had across the board. But most of the time, you're just going to climb right up into your stack and then just go ahead and burst mode for game. So what makes Mirage Galgamon good, obviously, is the effects, but the consistency pieces, right? 4 mental training really put this deck over the top, in my opinion. You know, pre-training boosts, there was some inconsistencies. But the fact that you have mental training now definitely adds to the consistency of it all. Being able to just grab your pieces and reduce Digivolution is really nice. And then Full Moon Meteor Impact is just a great removal card. Playing stuff for cheaper is always good, while getting rid of threats on the board is really nice. So shout out to Mirage, and I'm happy to see Shine Greymon finally come back into the fold here. I'm a really big fan of this deck. However, this deck is not a big fan of me. Every time I play this deck, I just brick beyond belief. And maybe it's just because of how it's built, but as I'm looking at this list here, this is pretty much how I would play it, minus the Agumons. I would probably just full send into the red-yellow lineup for the Agumons here, because I don't want to miss on a search. Because because this Agumon only grabs pieces. It doesn't grab Tamers. So you're going to miss on your Marcuses. You're going to whiff on them every single time. So that's why this one is king when it comes to that. Just being able to top 4, grab a piece and a Marcus is really nice. Yeah, I mean, Shine Greymon is just really good. I'm a bigger fan of the red variant with the eggs as opposed to the yellow variant. I do understand the value in the minus 1000 DP, but I do like drawing cards, and you don't have to turn sideways for this to trigger. You can just go ahead and check security with your Marcuses and still draw, because you're going to need to fuel your pieces later on anyway. But I really do like this build here. I feel like the champion count might be a little low. There's only 8 champions here, but there's enough search. And there's enough ways of getting your pieces. I'm more of a fan of 9. I would just go 4-4-1. I do like this ultimate lineup. On Digivolution, play a Tamer. On Digivolution, play a Tamer. And yeah, this is probably the way you go. I was trying the yellow Rise Greymon from BT3, but I don't really like it too much. I think this is definitely the way you want to go here, because you'll have the inheritables to protect your Marcuses. And then Ruin Mode is just Ruin Mode. Ruin Mode is such a good card at the top end. Burst Mode's really great for the OTK, but if you need that extra survivability, if you need that extra turn, you definitely want to sit on a Ruin Mode, because you're essentially going to time walk your opponent twice. So yeah, I mean, this is it. I mean, I'm really excited to start doing these more frequently now that we started season 3. And I want a quick shout out to Panzer. He did mention doing like a pick of the week. As far as like the topping decks are concerned, my favorite deck in this top 5, if you want to say, would be this Magnamon deck here. Everybody knows Veemon's my favorite Digimon, O2 is my favorite season. Anything with armors or Imperial is I'm just gonna gravitate towards, or Old Force, whatever it is. So this is probably like my pick of the week. I would make a little bit of adjustments here just depending on my playstyle, but I never argue with results. So I am happy to see that we're starting to get more fluctuation in the meta with the new cards coming out in BT16. And I'm excited to see where it's going to take us. So let me know in the comments down below if there's anything that you'd like to see differently in these videos. But with that being said, we're going to get on out of here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.